Rates, slowing growth, and falling stock markets, cash is king, and that means job cuts are needed to preserve the balance sheet. Back to you.
Susan Lee, thank you. Let's welcome to the show House Budget Ranking Member Jason Smith. It's great to see you, sir. You know, one of the big issues for voters was inflation. That didn't end up being the top issue in certain races, right? We did learn that. But people are still suffering. And tomorrow's consumer price index is supposed to indicate that year over year we dropped slightly. 7.9% is the expectation, down from 8.2%. Having said that, that's still far too high for many Americans to feel comfortable. Do you think that this administration is going to pivot with respect to its policy at all to try to address those concerns? Because I listened to the president before, and I didn't really see anything in there that convinced me.
Well, they're going to have to, since the House has now flipped, or will be flipping in January, where the Republicans take over. The Republicans' priority is to make our economy stronger. That was a priority of the House of Representatives, and that's going to continue to be our priority. Folks have seen inflation rise 13.9% since Joe Biden's taken the oath of office, and you've seen one-party Democrat rule in Washington. In fact, I was talking to some folks the other day. Inflation has rose by 500% since Joe Biden's taken the oath of office. And when Jimmy Carter was in office over 40 years ago, inflation only rose at a pace of 200%. That tells you that we are worse off today than we were during the Jimmy Carter days.
Well, and that's why I was surprised by some of the outcomes last night, because people are suffering. Their food costs, they complain, are the worst, the highest, the thing that, you know, impacts them the most. And next would be gas prices. And after that would be housing. And these are, you know, everyday issues that people have to struggle with, hardworking Americans that are out there, maybe taking on a second job or a third job to make ends meet. Are you surprised that voters didn't put the economy first in a more aggressive way?
You know, politics and elections are always local. So it's local based on from state to state. You saw what happened in Florida, what happened in New York. I mean, Republicans picked up numerous seats in the state of New York. We picked up 4 in the state of Florida. So everything is regional. I'll tell you right now, working class Americans are struggling to put food on their table, clothes on their backs, and gasoline in their cars. It's a priority. It's a priority to numerous voters. So what happened yesterday has only happened 4 times in the last 75 years. And that is the House switching from Democrat to Republican control. So it was a big night, and the people of the United States spoke loud and clear. They wanted to retire Nancy Pelosi, and they did just that.
Right. And as we were saying earlier on another with a different guest, you know, the issue really becomes about being able to block legislation. And as long as one chamber can do that, this administration is going to have a very tough time getting anything done.
Well, Jackie, it's not about just blocking legislation. It's about making sure that this reckless spending stops. Just in the first 21 months of one-party Democrat rule in Washington, they have added more than $10 trillion of spending. Yeah. That's more than the first 196 years of all spending for our country. That will be stopped now since the Republicans take control of the House of Representatives.
And there are a lot of people out there that say, hey, that's a big win.
Huge win, and it will be good for the people trying to just afford food on their table, clothes on their backs, and gasoline on their cars.
Yeah, and we opened the segment talking about layoffs coming at Meta, but also other technology companies, and you've been hearing it trickle in. The expectation is that the Fed will continue to raise rates because inflation isn't coming down fast enough. We're going to head into some sort of a recession. Mortgage rates are high. How do you think 2023 is going to shape out for most Americans? How do you think they're going to be feeling?
You know, I'm really concerned. Americans are struggling. They've seen interest rates increase 6 times since March. Just to make a payment on a mortgage is almost doubled under this administration. Everything is harder for them to bear, and so it's going to be tough. But hopefully, Republicans are on the way to help make a difference.
Congressman, great to see you. Jason Smith, good to see you tonight.
Good to see you too, Jackie.
All right, the road ahead for House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Plus, what's next?